At the same time, every single group member must also intensively study and learn the teachings and all writings so that from this, a true knowledge develops for them. This, together with all necessary exercises, etc., and together with the necessary activities for the pursuit and dissemination of the mission and its interests. But also, limited recognition, learning and following the existing rules and regulations of the commandments, as well as obeying the statutes, still remain in force during this time, after which they then must be changed in a number of points. The period of 12 months, however, must also be used to study the English language because after this period, this will become a second language for various group members out of necessity. After the deadline is reached, an examination has to take place for every single group member, as is held by the statutes, after which an entrance into the newly established core group will be decided if each group member has so changed up to this time and has completed the necessary studying of all interests, matters, and facts to the point that the free community of interests remains stable. During this 12-month time period, however, and also in the future, it will then be that we will have an activity plan and task plan for every single group member which must be completed on time and to date and also accurately and properly in all matters. Billy says if this is so, then I am not the man who will shout again. Patar says we also don't expect that from you because the necessary instructions will always be given by us, so you can put them down in writing and deliver them to the individual group members. Violations of our orders necessarily have to be punished so that the fallible ones must finally be removed from the free community of interests. Billy says and if everything should still fail. Patar says about that I will still speak. But first of all, this it was planned and, with a little effort, would have been achieved that during the past 3.5 years, 5 writings and bookworks could have been constructed and sold as genuine books. During that time, however, only the Talmud Manual was put into this form, so we are also demanding that during the 12 months, the remaining 4 missing writings are to be produced in the said form because this is necessary for the dissemination of such. About all of these issues, every group member must now make a decision, thus, the choice stands before them: allow everything to be destroyed already, with the certainty that by this, the future will also be destroyed and any other mission progress in the future, or allow the possibility of the 12-month period to be seized and used in order to secure success in the future. Every single group member must make a decision about this within 3 days, after our conversation for today has been given to them in writing or by word of mouth. The decision about these things, however, has to be done no later than Tuesday, August 12, 1980, which is why my daughter will still convey everything to you in time. Billy says and what happens if after the 12 months, everything still collapses? Patar says then the destruction of all material has to take place. Billy says then there is no sense in printing 4 books or writings. That would only be lost capital. Patar says that is correct, but it's also the risk that every single cooperating person of the free community of interests must take. But it will also serve as a warning and incentive for everyone to make the necessary conversion in every relation and to study the teachings thoroughly and own them for themselves. This concerns much more than just a selfish lifestyle and the selfish, domineering, and hysterical emotions of individuals. It's about the existence and continued existence of an entire planet and its humanity, as well as its evolution. Billy says to whom you say this, that is all clear, but, oh damn. Patar says you are so very bitter that you see no hope. You are destroyed within yourself in terms of your expectations and all positives are trumped by negatives. You need at least 3 to 4 years before you can return to your old self again. From now on we will often, through my daughter, remove you from the earth for longer periods of time for you to become familiarized with yourself again and then drop you back into your time using time shifts. Only in this way, after adjusting to earth time again, will you be able to do what you are now no longer able to do. Billy says I know, I have become immensely distressed from the contact reports. Patar says, don't worry, my daughter will show consideration towards you and will have patience with you. Semyaza says, certainly, you can be sure of that. I already know that you need hours for just a short conversation. Billy says, that is dear of you. Thank you. Nevertheless, for the time being I won't lift a finger to stir up group affairs. I simply can't do it. Patar says, we also don't demand it of you. Cautiously wait until the decision is made. Until then, we only expect that you still strive to write down our conversation if it is conveyed to you by my daughter. Billy says, sure, but I understand why you want to make an attempt again. It's just, I think a so-called attempt is really just an attempt. There is only an either-or. Patar says, that is correct. What we intend with the 12 months is not just an attempt. It is only a failure or success. It's nothing more than just a last resort so that now, by true efforts, all will succeed. If not, then any further possibility for a continuation of the mission and all related matters will be destroyed. Billy says, even so, I don't see how there can now be a change for the better. Patar says it is possible that through the collapse of the core group, the group members will now realize that there are no more chances left if this 12-month time period is not decisively used. Billy says, if it should come to this 12-month resolution, then I will still oppose it and advocate that it is better now if everything is stopped. Patar says, but you would still fulfill your task for at least this time. Billy says, shall I leave you in the dark? Semyaza says, you probably will not and cannot do that. Quetzal says, I would have to ask you. Billy says, you don't have to lower yourself so far, I promise that. Semyaza says, for this, I am still grateful to you. Billy says, nonsense, you ultimately cannot do anything for this whole mess. It just surprises me that, despite your word, you once again entered into the direct interests of the group members. Patar says, we do this only in the form of a direction and only in compliance with the advice of the High Council. Billy says, oh, I see, but isn't this direction rather decisive, then? Semyaza says, certainly. It is an enforced non-violence. Patar says, in general, it seems to be that with the Earth people, they need mandatory leadership and determination from the outside, which is incomprehensible to us. The people of the community of interests, your passing group, were all aware that they should be singled out from the large mass of the earthly humanity in a special way, that they are free and independent in their thinking, decisions, and actions. Thus, a major difference should have come to light between them and the unfree ones of the religions and sects. Instead of this, however, they used their freedom and independence as an advantage to themselves in any way, and to think, decide, and act unconstrained. In addition, they abused this freedom and became more vicious and selfish, more arrogant and egotistical, and more power-driven than the members of the religions and sects of the whole world. They took it so far in their self-glory that they encircled themselves into a group spirit and became stubborn until they came to the point that they must now be taught by the unknowing Earth people, instead of them teaching the Earth people. In their unreasonableness and illogic, they are of the belief that their confused and inconsistent thinking is good and straightforward, and that logical resolutions, decisions, and actions, as well as results of the same kind, would emerge from this. Truly, this way of thinking is but to punish a lie because it reflects a sense of malicious error. And as long as the group members still feel that they are capable of that real, reasonable, and logical thinking, they will not change for the better for a long time. Consequently, a path towards their instruction, which will relay reason and logic to them by way of enforced non-violence, must be taken. In this case, it means that all parties and some of them must be given strict guidelines, behavior patterns, learning methods, study habits and modes of operation to follow, which they are not to worry about for the time being but simply heedlessly follow them. Compliance with these kinds of behavior patterns will lead them towards recognizable success, which will inevitably arrive as a goal.